Hello and welcome to episode 74 of the Footy with Fletch podcast. I'm joined by Port Adelaide AFLW young gun Piper Window. Piper won the SANFLW Best and Fairest in 2023 and was selected by the Power with pick 19 in the 2023 AFLW draft. She's played 16 games and kicked 2 goals. Hello Piper, thanks for joining me on the podcast today. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So, which AFL team did you support growing up?
I actually have always gone for Collingwood. I'm not really sure why, to be honest. But yeah, it's just always been Collingwood, and I guess my family, we've just always gone for different teams, which has been kind of fun when they sort of verse each other. And then yeah, now I guess I sort of go for Port, really.
Do you still have a soft spot for the Pies?
I have to admit, I do a little bit. If they are playing, I am secretly going for them, but if Port's playing, I'm going for them. So it's a little bit of both, but definitely more Port now.
What's it like when you, I guess, come up against the Pies in the AFLW? That must be a great thrill.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I guess I do have a couple of friends in the women's team for Collingwood as well, so it's definitely fun to play against them. Yeah, no, they're a good team, but yeah, definitely, it's actually quite cool to play against them considering I have grown up supporting Collingwood.
And what sports did you play growing up?
Always played netball growing up. That was definitely my main sport. And then I also did surf lifesaving, which I actually still do now, which is sort of works well with footy because it's in the off season of footy during the summer. So it actually works well that I can do both. But yeah, I definitely grew up with mostly netball, which that's what I thought I was sort of gonna go on and continue. And then footy sort of came in and that took over.
Surf lifesaving, it's such a great part of the community. How have you found being involved with that?
I love it. I love it. And I think I just really enjoy it because it is such a community thing and it's really nice just to do throughout the summer. And I found it has helped with footy and growing up, it helped with all my other sports because mainly because of the sprinting. That's what I do most is all the beach sprints, the beach flags, and doing a 90-meter sprint on sand is tough. But then when I do it, on the footy field, I know that I can do those repeat sprint efforts and it really helps with fitness. And then even just on the weekends doing, when we patrol, it's just such a nice thing to do for the community. And I have heaps of friends and it's just like something I love. Like I just love doing it. It's fun and I enjoy it. So yeah, no, it's just a great sport to do.
And when did you start playing footy?
I started when I was about 14 or 15. I think it was about 2019. So I've probably been playing for, yeah, about 5 years or so now. Yeah, I was probably about 14, I reckon, when I sort of went out, tried it, loved it, and then, yeah, just stopped netball and went full footy.
And you played with Glenelg in the SANFLW in 2021, joining them back then. What was it like to join Glenelg and how did that come about?
I loved it. Yeah, playing Sandford, especially at Glenelg, I had a lot of great friends there. The team was great, all the coaching stuff. I couldn't have gotten to where I am now without going through that program. So that definitely was a massive step to like how I actually got to playing AFLW. And yeah, no, I loved it. It was a different level of footy compared to club. It was definitely a big step up, especially in SA, how we play against women. Yeah, no, it was great. I got a lot of experience, met heaps of new friends as well, which was great. And then, yeah, I think just being able to transition against playing women's at that age to then be able to play women's now helped a lot with where I am today.
And in your first season, you played 11 games. What did you make of your first season with Glenelg?
I loved it. I think I didn't really have too many expectations in my first year. I was pretty young. I was 15 playing against women. So, I was just going out there each game, just playing my best, using it for good experience, just wanting to improve really. So that's all I did. And then, yeah, it sort of just took off from there. But my first season was just me trying to improve, get that experience, and just get a few games. So I was really happy with that.
And you also were a part of the SANFLW Premiership with Glenelg in 2021. What was that like for you?
That was really unreal. I think probably to this day, that's definitely one of my highlights across my footy career. Yeah, no, it was just absolutely incredible. And I think playing at that young age, I remember there was only a couple of girls that were 15. We were sort of the first sort of lot of younger girls coming through the SANFLW program. And I think just to be able to win a premiership, a league premiership at that age is just something that I won't forget. And yeah, it's still so crazy to me that we could do that. We had such a good team that year. And yeah, no, it was just absolutely incredible. And I loved it. And yeah, it's something I'll never forget.
And what was it like, I guess, to then go into your second season off the back of a premiership?
I think there was definitely a lot of expectation like from our team as a whole. So I think just coming off the back of a premiership, you've always got that expectation. Everyone's chasing after you. So I think just as a team, we just went out there and did what we could. Everyone just tried to play their best. I was still just wanting to improve my game as best I could. And so yeah, that's all I could do was just go out each game and want to improve and get better and have fun playing footy with my friends.
And then in 2023, your draft year, you played 11 games, averaged 20.3 disposals, 7.9 tackles, and 3.1 marks. What did you make of that season as a whole?
Yeah, I think that was definitely a season that, everything sort of just clicked for me. Everything worked in my favor, and I had been working so hard, those first couple of years leading up to it is, that's just where I got a lot of my skill from is just I wanted to be better as a player and a person, so I just put in a lot of work, and I think it just really paid off that year. And, I think going into my draft year as well, I did the extras. I did as much as I could because, at the end of the day, getting drafted was the main goal, and that's what I wanted. So that's what I put everything towards. And, it paid off for me. So I was obviously super happy that I did that. And yeah, just every game went out and just wanted to play my best and showcase what I could do.
And then in a game in 2023, you had 29 disposals and kicked 3 goals. What do you remember from that performance?
I remember placing bets with my coaches before saying if I kicked 3 goals that they owed me something. So that was a bit of fun I had with some of my coaches. Definitely like, I had close relationships with my coaches so we could just make jokes like that. But yeah, I just went into the game, just like any other game. And yeah, don't even know what happened, to be honest. I was just really on my game and just went out and played and yeah, ended up having some fun, which probably contributed to how I could actually just keep playing is because I was just enjoying it so much and having a good game that, kind of felt unstoppable in that game, really. So yeah, I just kept going and yeah, I was super happy with that game.
And you played with South Australia in the 2023 AFL National Championships under 18 girls side. What was it like to play with South Australia, given that they also won the title that year?
Yeah, no, definitely. It was such a cool experience again. That's another one of my highlights is just being able to play with those girls. And again, just another great opportunity to grow and improve and just become a better person and make so many more friendships. And, it's just why you love the game is because there's so many opportunities to just meet new girls and, you have lifelong friends and, I know so many girls from around the country. So it's just really amazing just to be able to have those opportunities. And yeah, it was a really great time playing footy and I just loved playing with those girls and it was such good fun. Yeah.
And how do you find it when you come up against those players that you've either played against or with in that national championships at AFLW level? What's that like?
It's pretty cool. I guess after the game, we always have a bit of a chat and, talk about the game. And, yeah, obviously we haven't seen each other in so long and we've only really played together a couple of times during that championship. So, no, it's just good fun to be able to see them and everyone's just so happy for each other. You make these friends and then you just get to see them grow and improve, across the country. And yeah, it's just good fun to be able to play against them, see each other after the game, catch up quickly and yeah, no, it's just good fun to have friends that, have worked just as hard as you have, and it pays off.
And in 2023 as well, you were named captain of the under-18 All-Australian team. What does that honour mean to you?
It definitely means a lot. I think being named captain is something so big. It's something that the rest of your team sees, the coaches, like all the coaching staff, and so it's definitely a privilege, and it means a lot to know that people around you are seeing that what you can do and like your leadership skills. And I think leadership for me has always been something that has come quite natural to me. And so I think when people see it on the outside, it really means a lot to me that that's what they're seeing, and they want me to lead that team. So it's definitely a great honor and great opportunity. And I loved it. I really took it on. And yeah, we had a great time.
And in 2023, you also won the SANFLW Best and Fairest award. What was it like to claim that award, and what was running through your head when you finally won the award?
I remember just sitting down that night and my heart was racing. I was so nervous, especially when it got towards the end of the count. Like, I think that season, I had a great season. I was happy with my performance, but I didn't expect that at all, to be honest. I knew there was so many great other players in that room who would have awesome seasons as well. So definitely wasn't what I was expecting. And then when my name sort of was getting called out and I was, at the top of that leaderboard, that's when it sort of clicked that I was like, hang on, I actually do have a chance for this. And yeah, I just remember sitting in that room and I was so nervous, and I had my friends and my teammates around me and they were all cheering for me. And then I guess that final count when, my name was finished at the top, I was like, no way I've done that. Like, this can't be real. How did I do that? And just everything was rushing through my head. Um, and I guess now it's just something that I look back on and it's like, if you do want something, you can work towards it and get it. So I think it's just a good reminder. And yeah, I was just so proud of myself that I actually managed to do that.
And you also won the SANFLW Breakthrough Player of the Year and the Coaches Award in 2023. What was it like to also claim both of those awards?
Again, I remember sitting in the room, and when my name got called for that Powerade player, I was like, wow, okay, like this is amazing. Like, so happy to have won this award. And then I guess from there, it sort of just kept going. And I was like, hang on a second, like, how have I all of a sudden gotten two, three awards? Yeah, like I knew I had a good season. I was happy with my season, but again, it's just one of those things where it's so cool that people on the outside can see that performance and like they vote for you. So it's just something that, yeah, I was really grateful for, and yeah, I was so happy and excited for that. Yeah, no, I was just again proud of myself that I managed to do that in that season.
And in 2023, you could have nominated for either the national draft or the state draft pool. Which draft pool did you nominate for and why?
I ended up nominating for just the state draft. I remember I was just talking with my manager and my family about what I wanted to do, and it took a little bit to actually decide because, I guess this was my future and my career, and it was a tough decision to make. And I guess after talking to a few AFLW clubs, I had positive responses from both Port and Crows, and I think that sort of finalized my answer with, I did have a good chance that if I selected to stay in SA, that Port or Crows were most likely to pick me up. And I think that was a great, sort of incentive to actually stay in SA, which was nice. So I could stay with my family. Then there was also part of me that I was like, maybe I should just go into the national draft and, see where it takes me and maybe end up in a different state. And yeah, so it was definitely a tough decision at the time. It did take quite a lot of thinking. But now I'm so happy that I did decide to stay here in SA. I love being at Port, and it's nice to just be at home with my family.
And who were some of the other clubs that interviewed you in the lead up to the draft?
I remember I had quite a few Victorian clubs. They were probably the most. So I did remember having chats with Bulldogs, Geelong, Essendon, those mostly Victorian clubs. Yeah, just had a couple of interviews with them, which I was all very pleased with. They were definitely I was pleased with what they had to offer. And I think that also made the decision very tricky as to what I did nominate, whether that was state-based or just go into that national draft.
And you were selected by Port Adelaide with their first draft pick, pick 19 in the 2023 AFLW draft. What was it like to make your way to the power?
Yeah, no, I loved it. I think I always had a few girls that were already in the team that I knew, and so I think Port was definitely one that I sort of wanted to go to because I had friends in that team already, and I heard lots of positive things about them. And even when I had, a meeting with them leading into the draft, like I was very pleased with what they had to offer and all the coaching staff and everything like that. So I was very happy that when my name got called out to go to Port, like I was stoked to obviously first of all just get drafted, but yeah, I was stoked to be able to go to Port Adelaide and then yeah, now I absolutely love it.
Did you have any inkling that the Power were going to select you in that draft?
I guess I wasn't 100% sure. Like I had heard good things from them when I had met with them and leading into the draft, but it was something that anything could happen on draft night, anything could change. And so, I really was just sitting there in that draft room, just waiting and hoping for my name to be called out by someone. And so then when they did call my name out, it was such a massive relief and I was just so excited. But yeah, no, it was definitely such a relief to hear my name called out.
And you made your AFLW debut in round one last year against the Crows. What was it like to make your AFLW debut and what do you remember from it?
Yeah, it was so exciting. I had worked so hard in that preseason leading into it and yeah, I guess then from being drafted, my goal was obviously to get a game and play. And so when, I heard from the coaches that I was playing, it was definitely an exciting time and I was just so excited to be able to play. And I remember just round one, it was against the Crows and so, that's our showdown and that was just so exciting for just the whole team in general, just to be able to play a showdown against them. And yeah, obviously we didn't get the win that year, but it was just so exciting to be able to play. We had a home game, so we had a good crowd. And yeah, honestly, I just loved everything about it. I just took the time to soak it in and yeah, I had a great time.
And in round five against Carlton, you kicked your first AFLW goal. What do you remember from that moment?
Yeah, no, I just remember sort of when I got the ball and just kicked, I was like, oh, hang on, this could actually be going through for a goal, and which I wasn't really expecting. And yeah, I was just so excited when it did go through for a goal. I always remember that first goal, and yeah, I was just so excited and, so happy that it was just a goal. I think any first goal is exciting, and yeah, no, I remember that, and it was just such a cool time.
And you had 16 disposals and five tackles in that game as well. What did you make of that performance?
Yeah, I think even to this day, like that was definitely one of my best performances so far. And I think for my first year of AFLW, like I was pretty happy with that performance and, just starting to slowly showcase what I can do. And so I think that's sort of a bit of a baseline now is, that sort of performance is, I know I can do that. So now it's really just trying to be better every game and showcase what I can do.
And in week one of finals last year, Port Adelaide played Richmond at Alberton Oval, getting the win by 24 points. What did you make of that game?
Definitely it was just such an exciting game. I think my team towards the end of last year, making finals was such an exciting time for the team and the club. We'd never made finals before, and so sort of leading into those last games was just such a cool experience. And I was just so happy to be a part of it and super grateful to be in the team. And yeah, no, it's just, I love playing at home with Albert and we get such a good crowd. And yeah, it just was really such a good performance from our team.
And week two against Hawthorn, it was at Icon Park. The Hawks were heavy favourites heading into the game. What do you sort of remember to the lead up of that game?
I just remember our team, we'd already put on such a good show those past few weeks after, getting on a bit of a winning streak. And I knew, we just had to like take a step back, settle ourselves. Like we know how to play footy. And I just remember everyone, we were so excited and so up and about and proud of ourselves as a team. And we knew we just had to go out there and play. And, obviously they sort of got in front a little bit. But when I don't even know how, but we just managed to come back, and I think that just shows that that's our brand of footy and that's how we want to play. And so I think that's a good reminder to us is, like we can play good footy when we play our roles and we play the team thing. So yeah, I just remember that game and it was such a cool experience.
So at the time, Port Adelaide trailed by 22 points at three-quarter time, pulling off the biggest fourth-quarter comeback in AFLW history at that time, winning by 1 point. What was it like post-match when you realised, oh geez, we've actually won that game and made AFLW history at the same time?
Yeah, I think it was such a surreal experience. I remember thinking we were going around being like, how did we just do that? Like I don't even know. Just I think something just came out from everyone being like, we want this more than they do, and everyone just something clicked, I think, and we just came out and smashed it. And yeah, I remember just after the game, we were just like, how on earth did we manage to do that? The crowd was going wild and we were just so up and about, and yeah, it was such a fun time. Yeah, we were just so excited with that.
And you played every game in your first season in the AFLW. What did you make of your debut season?
Yeah, no, I was pretty happy with my first year. I think just being able to play every game was such a great opportunity, and I was super grateful for that. And, I think each game I just wanted to try and play consistent footy and, get better and continue to improve. And so, yeah, I think that's, I guess my first year I sort of just did as much as I could and, tried to be happy with my performance. Obviously, I still got heaps to learn and, I've still got a lot of room to grow. So, yeah, that's just what I'm taking out of that into this year.
And in round one against Fremantle, you unfortunately suffered an ankle injury with scans revealing damage to your syndesmosis requiring surgery. Talk me through the rehabilitation and that injury as a whole.
Yeah, so when it happened in that first game, I didn't, I was obviously hoping it was nothing too serious, just, like a bit of an ankle roll, but yeah, unfortunately, like you said, I did need surgery for that one. So when he got surgery, like literally 2 days after, which was like a really quick turnaround, and I was out for about, yeah, 5, 6 weeks. And yeah, there was, the first couple of weeks was quite hard in rehab. It really hits you, especially mentally. Obviously you just want to be out there and you're watching the girls train and you're watching them play and you just obviously want to be out there as much as anyone else does. So it can get quite frustrating and upsetting, but you just sort of got to stick to the process and trust what you're doing. And each day I was making progress, so I could sort of, I think that's what got me through is, I went from doing, rehab to walking to this, and then, I was finally putting strength through it, and then I was running, and I'm like, okay, like we're getting through it week by week. And then yeah, I guess, just trusting the process and it felt like a long time, that 5 weeks, but then, once I was finally back, I was like, okay, it wasn't too bad. Like we got there, and I think it sort of just kind of like flicked a switch for me, being like, you can't just take anything for granted because, like that injury happened in a split second and I was out for 5 weeks. So yeah, it just, I think now back playing, it's just really, I'm just out there to enjoy and have fun while I can because you don't know what can happen in a second.
And it's a great mindset that you do have. You returned in round seven from that injury against St Kilda. What was it like to make your AFLW return from that injury?
Yeah, it was just so nice. Like it was, I just love running out with the girls and just being able to pull on that Guernsey and go out and play. And so, yeah, I was just super grateful that, I was able to do that. And, obviously our season's quite short, but still got a few games to the end of the season. So I'm really just trying to, enjoy the footy while I can before the season's over. And yeah, I just love running out with the girls and being able to play some footy with them.
And you kicked the opening goal of the game as well. It was from outside 50 and then it bounced through. What was running through your head in that moment?
I remember just getting the ball and, I was like, I'll just kick it as far as I can. We had a 1v1 down in the goal square. So I was like, I'll just kick it, as far as I can towards them, make a contest out of it. And then it ended up going, yeah, over their head and bounced through. And I was like, oh, I guess I'll take that instead. Like that's cool to be able to kick that goal. But yeah, so I wasn't really going for goal. But yeah, no, I was pretty happy that I actually bounced through over the top. So no, it was good fun.
And a disappointing end to the result, it must be said. The Saints, similar to you in that semi-final, they came back from 27 points down at three-quarter time for the greatest AFLW comeback. How disappointing was that finish to the game for the side?
Yeah, it was pretty disappointing. I mean, I guess have to give credit to the Saints for coming out in that last quarter and, they just came out and absolutely smashed it. So definitely credit to them. And, unfortunately, our team just couldn't go with them. Yeah, so it's definitely disappointing for us. We've taken a lot of learnings from it though, so hopefully won't happen again and we'll just be able to grow from that. So definitely a lot to learn. Yeah, I think definitely the first 3 quarters of the game was great and that's how we wanted to play and we just couldn't hold on for that fourth quarter. So yeah, all we'll do now is just grow from that and learn and hopefully yeah, it won't happen again.
And what goals do the side have for the remainder of the season?
I guess just as a team, like any team probably is we just want to play consistent footy, play our roles. We've obviously got our game plan and so it's just sticking to that and those structures and yeah, obviously if we do all that, hopefully get a few extra wins on the board would be nice.
And for those people who might not know how you go about your footy, how would you describe yourself as a footballer?
I guess I'd say I'm pretty tough. Like I like to just get in and under the ball and, just follow the ball around and yeah, just I love a good tackle. So that's definitely something I, play my game off of. So yeah, probably those sorts of things in and under the ball.
And you have your own business as well, trying to perform. Tell me a little bit about that and how that came about.
Yeah, so I think, I've always had an interest in the fitness side of things. And so, I studied my Cert 3 and 4 in fitness. And I think I did that throughout high school because I knew I wanted to go down something along those lines. So I sort of just did that in school and then, yeah, definitely took up an interest for personal training. And yeah, so then I just decided to start my own business, which I've got a few clients that I train and yeah, I think, it's pretty good at the moment and hoping to just sort of grow that business over the next couple of years and see where it takes me.
And you love going to the beach. How did your love for the beach come about, I guess?
We've always grown up by the beach. My family's always been by the beach. We live close by and we've done surf lifesaving our whole life. So I think that's definitely where it started the most is, I've been doing surf lifesaving since I was 6 years old and, my siblings before me did it as well. So I was just always down the beach and yeah, I think that's just where it started. And now I just, yeah, absolutely love it. I'm down there all the time, even just walking my dog or in the summer, just hanging around is, yeah, no, I just love it.
You mentioned your dog as well. You've got a dog named Coda. Tell me a little bit about Coda.
Yeah. So she's about 2 years old. She's a border collie cross kelpie, and nah, I just love her. She's the family dog, but I do like to claim her a little bit of mine. I think, I'm the one that walks her the most, and yeah, she's just trained really well, and she's just such a person dog. She just loves hanging around us and going anywhere with us, and yeah, I take her as much as I can with me, whether that's to the beach or just going for a walk, and yeah, she just loves it.
And what are some of your hobbies outside of footy?
I definitely, well, one of them would be walking. I just love walking and hanging out with my dog, and then, I'm always with my friends on, rest days of footy. I'll just go hang out and we'll just go do whatever. Yeah, so honestly, just anything that's sort of laid back and chill is just something that I really enjoy.
And is there something that not many people know about you?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, a lot of people don't actually know that I have quite a big family. So I've got 5 siblings, which no one really knows. So I still live at home with my 3 brothers, and then I've also got 2 older sisters, but no one really knows that I actually have more siblings than what most people think. Because a lot of people know my older brother Hunter because he also played um, league footy at Glenelg, but no one really knows about the other siblings.
What's it like to grow up with 5 siblings? It must be a busy household.
Yeah, definitely a busy house. It's always so loud and rowdy, but no, I loved it. And, it's always so fun just hanging out with my brothers and sisters and, we always hang out. We get along really well. So it's just really fun. It's just like having, extra friends to hang around with at home. So no, I love it. And yeah, it's good fun to be around them.
And what's your favourite sporting moment that you've either been a part of or witnessed live in your lifetime?
Ooh, I definitely have a lot, whether that's, even just playing my debut game with Port and just running out with the girls, or yeah, like the Sandville Grand Final that we won in 2021 with Glenelg, like just those sorts of things where, I love anything to do with the team. So they're some of my favorite sort of moments.
And just finally as well, what are three words that someone else might use to describe you?
Um, I'd say funny, caring, and or probably just some character.
Well, thank you so much, Piper, for your time today, and all the best of luck for the remainder of the season and for your footy moving forward.
No worries. Thank you so much.